They were reading the spell from a random scrap of paper and then changing stuff. I had no idea what they were saying or what they were doing. The next thing I know, I can't hear the room anymore. Things just get distorted more and more. The room looked different, like in slow motion, like stretched out. You don't even know if the same people are there or not. I'm seeing weird stuff, faces, colors, sounds, all mixed together. The next thing I know, I look up and people are passed out and the walls are on fire and people are screaming, "Get out!" grabbing people and leaving. We tried to get everyone out, I swear. We couldn't get her in time. We tried.
Hello. Assalamualaikum, guys. Welcome back to Interrogation Files, Port Landsend. So, that's the story that happened when Colton's niece was murdered. Okay, let's continue the story. Let's try Book of Games.
So, what is this Book of Games all about then?
Yes, that collection. Well, here. I have a photo of it. Only one I have. I thought you'd ask about it. It doesn't photograph well, however. The Book of Games. It's obscure. Only die-hard believers would know of it, or historians. But of course, with the internet, anything's possible now. Most don't think it exists, but the really persistent are obsessed with finding out about it. Only 3 original copies exist, and I know all of the owners. Well, they don't show it to people, but bits and pieces have gotten out. The other 2 copies are on the eastern side of the country. It's from a collection of writing in the late 1500s in what is now New England. If those kids were into it, well, I'm not surprised what happened to them. Did, or worse.
So, Ruth know what's going to happen to those kids. Evidence. This is the Book of Games.
So tell us more about this book then. You said you are not surprised by what happened to the students. What does it do?
It's not what it does. It's what it doesn't do.
I'm not sure I'm following you. How do you mean?
There's always been this belief that there's some mistake in the writing of the book, that the lines are miswritten, since the outcome for most of the content is, well, bad for all intents and purposes for those who recite something in it, as if the people who wrote it did so intentionally, since each one is labeled good, promising all sorts of good outcomes. See, the first arrivers, the first North American settlers who came on the ships, who were in tune with the spiritual dimension, they were smart. They knew they were being killed off one by one in great numbers wherever they were in the world at the time. So they left little pieces of themselves behind in the form of their writing. That work was collected by their peers with a few copies discreetly made, all by hand. And after they died, only their written word would remain. So they left in some parts usefulness to those who knew how to interpret it, but to all others, mischief, games. So the people who found the book and made the mistake of trying anything inside usually, always wound up much worse off. The Book of Games was one such collection, but there are others.
So these kids, they try this sort of thing, some sort of spell inside, and don't get it right.
Incantation, yes.
Okay, and that kind of makes you liable, providing something that will knowingly kill them and not telling anyone about it.
Well, they stole it from me, actually.
You're willing to bet that the jury sees it that way? 5 young, bright students on their way to a sure death.
Yes, I think so too. It can make
Let me
Ruth
try to explain more.
also guilty.
See, the devil is in the details. There was always a rumor that there was some way of interpreting it in some new way to gain knowledge from beyond what is shown and written.
Like a code.
But that's one way of putting it. I had thought the notion of the interpretation, this rumor, died decades ago. I'm not sure where they heard about it or how they knew I have it. The incantation they were after inside was one of the most powerful. Promises of an unending life and a gift of power on each one of the 5 branches of matter.
5 branches of matter.
Okay, time out, hold on. Let me just get this straight. You're saying something from a book, by reading a book out loud, I can have eternal life? Oh, well, sign me up. So, let me see one of the copies. Because actually, we haven't fully turned the house upside down, and maybe we can still find this one. I'll get on the call right now.
The diary interpretation is no doubt now destroyed from the events that transpired. And even if you did have access to it, you would fail, as they did. You only get one chance at getting it right.
So why aren't people writing down exactly what they try, and then keep trying everything slightly different until we figure out how to make it work? I mean, that's what I would do.
It's not in our way.
I have some more questions. You said it's the 5 branches of matter. What does that mean?
Oh, I can show you a diagram or draw one for you that would help. It has to do with...
What? With what? The record get cut. Let's try Burning Shadows Ritual.
Look, I'm telling the truth.
You start out lying, saying you don't even remember your own name. Now she would just start believing you?
Things have been coming back to me since we've been talking. I swear. I got to the house that night, and I heard some weird noises. Like they were in my head, but outside too. I felt like I needed to go inside somehow, and I saw lights coming from inside. So I walked up to the porch, turned the door handle, and went inside. Inside the house, it was dark, but I saw these colors coming from the back room. I went down the hall and reached for the door, but I must have hit my head because the next thing I knew it was morning and I was back out on the porch. After a minute, I went inside into the living room and checked, but it was too late. Everyone was already dead. I swear.
Do you remember how you hit your head? At what point was that?
No, I don't remember.
You hit your head a lot, don't you?
No.
How about the location? What was the last thing you remember being in the living room that night?
I honestly can't remember. Stuff was weird at the time. The noises were both in my head and outside of it. What I was looking at was weird too. Things were kind of like a picture, like a painting, or like a stained glass window, and all distorted somehow.
Sounds odd.
Yeah, I'll say.
Do you remember if you saw anyone in there, in the house at night?
No. I mean, maybe some of the shapes were people. They were like paper dolls or something, moving, just shapes of people and noises.
And nothing in the morning either?
It was too ugly. I looked away and left.
So, he's admitting that he was there at the time.
5 branches of a pentagram and 5 victims. Seems like the spell worked.
So, you think it was suicide? Like a mass cult thing?
Let me just point one thing out to you, geniuses. That spell, that ritual, the burning shadows, you didn't have 5 victims, you had 4. It worked, but not like it was supposed to. 4 people died, so something changed. Otherwise, all 5 of them would still be alive.
Remind us what the burning shadow ritual is in your eyes.
I don't know. I've only ever heard of it from things not to try in that book.
Which book?
The game book.
So what changed?
I guess that's for you to find out.
So, if all dead, the survivor can only...
So do you think these kids are involved with
what?
whatever your niece got into back then?
Seems like they were definitely trying something similar. Although my niece was the only one who died in that fire, and everyone else got out relatively okay, besides some burns.
So, something similar then.
If they did it to themselves, then they all but died acting foolishly. I'd say that's pretty similar.
You really believe it though? That this stuff is real?
There's so many people that believe in this witchcraft stuff. Witchcraft, people look you straight in the eye and tell you that they think it's real. So many of those people. There's got to be truth behind it. Smart people. My own family thought it, and I've seen some weird stuff in this job. So if it is, the pendulum's got to swing back the other way.
And how do we do that?
Hard work. perseverance, being vigilant. It's not hard. You just got to be determined to do the right thing.
I don't know the history of that particular spell. The Burning Shadows. Records weren't kept of who contributed to the Book of Games originally. The Burning Shadows was old, even back then when it was first collected.
Why is it called the Burning Shadows?
I don't know, if I'm honest.
Care to guess?
Not really. No one's ever done it successfully, as far as I'm aware. I've kept it away from people. Again, I don't know where they found out that I had it.
If the ritual turned out the way it did, and assuming that all the students did everything correctly, why didn't it work?
I don't know. And I'm as surprised as you are to hear that there's a survivor. They should have all died. They were all close to the origin where it's the strongest. The power should have emerged right there at the source.
Right. If they had the key document and knew the original incantation, it should have worked. Could they have messed it up somehow?
I suppose that's possible. Human error is always a possibility.
And if they didn't do it right, why didn't they? Assuming they didn't want to kill themselves, something must have been different.
That's the big question.
Somebody could have changed something, but why?
Would you like to try something? I have just learned it.
How recently?
Very.
What is it?
The earthing seance.
They should have all died. Seriously, Ruth,
What do you know about the
you're
Burning
letting them
Shadows?
die?
Nothing. Not heard that before.
Your friends never mentioned it? Greg, Alana, Emily, maybe?
No.
You sure?
You're asking me if I know something, and I'm telling you I don't. Not sure what else to tell you.
So the witness saying that's what your friends were up to is lying, right?
Yeah.
Earthing science? Hatcher still insists she didn't know anything.
I have something I need to get off my chest. I've been hearing voices.
We guessed as much.
How long have you been hearing these voices?
Ever since that night, I just don't like what they're saying. They're getting aggressive.
Why do you think they started then?
I was there.
The night of the attack? You were at the house?
Yes, and it was horrible. But so was he.
Whoa. Let's not go throwing out wild accusations.
A patrol car was outside the house, I swear.
Okay, well, what were you doing there? Or is this something the voices are telling you?
They confirm it. They say they're all there.
Who?
I don't know what they mean. I only just started hearing them. Ever since that night when I was there, I was walking and I saw lights move inside the house. They were all different colors.
You saw lights?
Yes, strange colors, coming from downstairs windows. Colors I've never really seen before, if I'm honest.
Colors you hadn't seen before.
Yes, I know how strange that sounds. It's the only way I can describe it. They were beautiful, but almost terrifying at the same time. What is that smell?
Smell?
Yes, like a fire pit, like something's burning.
Yeah, I don't smell anything. Do you?
No.
You're hearing things, smelling things. Are you sure you're alright right now? Don't need anything, do you? Maybe you should have some more water. So, what happens when you get to the lights in the window?
I looked inside naturally. What I saw was the students, Alana and her friends, everything decked out in white, candles lighting the room. They were sitting down, and the light seemed to hover around them. I had my camera with me, but it wouldn't turn on. The battery went dead.
So Ruth telling the truth that Natalie was there.
So you see lights inside the house. Then what happened?
The lights moved faster and faster. The candles were flickering. I knocked on the window because I was scared for them. I wanted them to stop, but they didn't hear me, no matter how hard I knocked. The shadows in their room were weird, longer, not normal, not moving right. I got a bad feeling, so I went around the back to the house to try to get into the back door. It was locked. I tried the doorknob once, looked away for a second, and then I reached the doorknob again and an explosion happened.
In the house?
Yeah, I ran back to the side, and the windows of the living room were all blown out. It was dark and abnormally quiet. I couldn't tell other people were inside, so I left really quickly.
This is quite a story, but we've heard a lot today. Why not tell us this when we picked you up today? Why not call us last night?
I didn't think you'd believe me. I just wanted to put everything I saw past me. Then when we started talking about Hal's a suspect, I got scared. I'm still shook up about it. I didn't say anything that night and just went home. I put my head down and I fell asleep instantly. If you hadn't picked me up today, I would have thought the whole thing was just a dream.
Hey, what's this? Detective, watch out for her and the others. Anyone you let free could come for you too. What? We're all here counting on you to do the right thing. Put them all away. And then unreadable message. Wow, someone just told me to put all of the suspect guilty. Well, I almost think that way. And now I am more convinced. What do you think, guys? Okay, that's it. Let me know on the comment below what should I do next. Accusing all of them on my next video or getting more videos. Yeah, I mean, still looking for more videos or just accuse them right away. I look forward to it. Bye bye everybody. Assalamualaikum.